According to him, the Southwest region now holds significant influence across various sectors due to these new ministerial appointments. He believes that President Tinubu's appointments are quite similar to what President Buhari has done in the past. Now, the question is this. Imagine if you had a puzzle and two pieces fit together perfectly. That's how he feels about these appointments. The Southwest now has a lot of important roles, like the person in charge of the CBN, which is like the bank of the country, and many other roles in banking, finance, and the economy. It's like they have been given a lot of important keys. Now, I want you to listen to Dr. Mahdi so we will know whether you are actually of the same line of thoughts as him. Of course, my analysts will help me, give me their own perspective to what they think about that.
Ministerial list. I told Nigerians that if you are a good Nigerian and wish Nigeria good, you are represented by the few good ones among the nominees. And if you are also a Nigerian who celebrates criminality, celebrate criminals, celebrate election rigging, you are also adequately represented by some people on the list. Going for your question now, what do I see? Once I perused through the list of the ministerial nominees and their portfolios, what came to my mind is that, yes, there we are. A perfectly executed civilian coup. The central character who plays the coup is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Other accomplices of the Tinubu are the hidden vice president, and the hidden vice president is nobody other than BC Akande. Other members of the civilian coup plot are Bajabia Mila, the vice president, open vice president, and also chief of staff to the president. I could see the hand of the permanent secretary in the villa. I could see the hand of AT, SSA, and SSS in the villa. These are the people who executed this coup. Where was the plot? It was in London. You could remember that during the election campaign, Bola Tinubu, along with his kitchen cabinet, went to London and were eating in a restaurant. And he gave them the formula for winning election. He said, snatch power, grab power, and run away with power. And he grabbed it, he snatched it, and he ran away with it. One of the conditions is that once you snatch power, you grab power, and you run away with it, you must strangulate other parties. You must weaken them, and you must make them feel asphyxiated. You must push down their throats. Your agenda to a point of no return. And now I'm finally pretend that all is well. This is the setting of the ministerial nominees and their portfolio.
Okay, so that was Dr. Mahdi Shehu. Of course, my analyst will tell me precisely if they're on the same line of thought as him. Now, I want you to also remember that amidst the intrigue, okay, it's noteworthy that the influential Ministry of Petroleum and Gas Resources remains conspicuously vacant from the released lineup, maybe occupied by President Tinubu, just like Buhari and Obasanjo did. I'm going to start with you, Barrister Evans Ufeli. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Mr. Elvis Elumehele, good evening.
Good evening, Esther. How are you?
Happy Sunday to you.
Same to you.
Barrister Joe Nwokedi, good evening.
Good evening, our viewers and everyone.
Thank you very much for coming on the Political Spotlight this evening.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. We have a full house today.
We have a full house today. And I want us
Hope you are loaded.
Yes, I want us to objectively look at these issues because I do not agree with a lot of things. I had a conversation earlier with Mr. Elvis and we're arguing. I told myself, okay, we're going to break it down today on the program. All right, Mr. Elvis, Barrister Evan Sophie, let me start with you. Do you believe what Ahmadu Shehu said, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet's formation is an Oduduwa Republic?
No, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree because the speaker appears to be, he sounded very hypocritical.
Really? How?
Yes, because when Buhari assumed power, Buhari did the same. I mean, Buhari's own was even more daring and deeper than what we have seen so far the President Tinubu have done.
Okay.
And this speaker didn't come out then to condemn what Buhari did. What Buhari did Buhari almost turned it to a tribal coup, nepotistic arrangement where from kitchen cabinet down to all the service chiefs down to every. I mean, in this case, for the first time in Buhari's case, you can start from the point, speak Hausa down to the end of the road, and speak Hausa back to the other point. I mean, this is not the same.
Okay.
If this speaker had come out when Buhari did that composition and call it an Arewa coup or republic, like he's saying now, I would have forgiven him his trespasses and forgive those who trespass against him. But for this, he didn't condemn that then. He cannot choose and cherry pick and come and make statements like this to say that it's an extension of Oduduwa Republic or it was a coup. They went to London to this kind of statement. I mean, he should be invited by the DSS.
Okay. This
is the kind of statement that are inflammatory. It is inciting. It should not be condoned. Much more coming from an elderly statesman who should understand that whatever it is that Tinubu has done can be criticized to the extent that perhaps the appointment were not even. That's fine. But to say that it is an Oduduwa Republic, or that is going too far to the extreme. Every leader that have emerged in this country have been criticized. But for you to come out and then make statement like this, that you are deepening the conversation and the divide on secession indirectly. Yes, because we know that the Southwest and the Southeast have this certain cluster of persons who are asking for secession, as we know. We've not seen any northern extraction or any southern extraction of agitation for secession, other than the Yoruba and and the Igbo. Just few persons doing that. So when an elderly statement comes up to say that a democratically elected government, or so it seems, how be it that the matter is in court, it is wrong, very wrong to make such statement. And I believe the DSS should do their job now to protect national security, for which there's a law, the extant law that established DSS is to ensure that national security is guarded, protected. Okay. They should call him for questioning so that these statements that are made by people like this should not continue. It's condemnable.
All right, Mr. Elvis, what's your line of thoughts with what Sheikh Ahmad said? Because Barrister Evans is saying that no, he does not agree that the formation of the president's cabinet is an Oduduwa Republic. What's your take?
Well, I don't think I will toe the line of my learned brother this evening.
All right, please let me know what you think.
Yes, because they say two wrongs does not make a right. We saw Buhari's cabinet was absolutely very wrong. Nigerians criticized it. There was no headway in all he attempted to achieve with it. So we now expected that with all the criticism and the way Nigerians didn't like the formation of his cabinet then, we're going to see a drastic shift from the next government. Let's not look at the political parties, that it is still APC. In leadership varies. I mean, as in persons that are involved. we are now seeing Ahmed Bola Tinubu's cabinet. And Alhaji Shehu has just given his opinion about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's comparing, we are now trying to compare Buhari's cabinet mm-hmm. to Tinubu's cabinet. I didn't really see much. Mm-hmm. I know that Buhari's one was very obvious. But if you also look at what is going on, and he made mention of some certain people, yes. whom he said, Baba BC is like the vice president, and everybody saw the video of the London restaurants discussion, which went online viral, and there is nothing different from. I mean, that was quite true. They cannot deny that. If you look at what is going on now, presently the CBN is from the same Southwest. This head of the CBN. The head of the army is from the same Southwest. The head of the custom is from the Southwest. The head of the immigration is from the Southwest. And the head of the tax now, that's FIRS reformation, whatever, is also from here. Which office
police.
Is the head of the police as well, IG, is from here. Which portfolio in the nation is more than these ones I've just mentioned? If we want to start analyzing from what the Alhaji said, look at all the paraphernalia of portfolios that are from the Southwest. This was what we were saying, that it was wrong with Buhari's administration. That there is no part of Nigeria that you don't have credible men, to spread around.
Mr. Elvis, is it surprising actually that he put his own persons in these key critical sectors? This was also the same thing that was introduced during Obasanjo's tenure, which we experienced a little bit of it that time, and of course in Buhari's time. So is it surprising to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu put persons from his ethnic group at key positions, and especially if he feels that those persons actually have the requirements to, to take charge of most of the sectors? Specifically, you will recall that during the elections, certain ethnic groups were not in support of the president. So why is it surprising for a lot of us, seeing where these people come from, that he did not make it all inclusive? I don't know why we're all surprised.
It is surprising because we want a drastic shift from the former. That is, we are not comfortable with it. If you even made mention of Obasanjo did not go this way. Obasanjo never went this way.
Not as
celebrated as it now. That if I am there, my father, my mother, whether they are in the grave, I must bring them up to come and be part of my cabinet. Obasanjo didn't do this. Remember that Obasanjo brought some technocrats that will never, to make the economy work for him. But today we are not seeing brother, sister, father, mother sitting down, even in their dining to discuss the economy of the nation before they go to the press and start telling Nigerians this is what they want to do. That is not how a nation should be ruled. A nation, there is no part of Nigeria that do not have the credible men to work with the president to achieve the result he wants to achieve. I just made mention of look at all the number of persons I made mention of, and look at the key positions they are holding in this government, and look at some part of this government or some part of this nation that are not even having the same number. I know we will still get to that. With those ones are already agitating that why are some having 9, some having 10, some having 7, and we are already having 5. The number of these ones that are concentrated in one zone, can't we get some other persons from other zone to say, okay, let this one be there? Remember the day the names of the service chiefs were released. We never knew, nobody ever knew that Ogala was a southeastern person. Everybody was already, the social media was already awash with, nobody from the southwest. So some of these norms that we saw already that were not too good with the past administration, we expected a change in this present administration so that this feelings of marginalization will begin to curb it. Marginalization is what is bringing in this part. Most of this insecurity we are seeing, most of this agitation we are seeing is as a result of this marginalization that have come into this nation. Marginalization will also bring corruption. By the time you bring brothers and sisters, father and mother on the same cabinet, corruption will first start because they know what they are discussing at home, and it's not what they are coming to tell us what they discuss. So let us not be bamboozled. Let us not be, be wounding into this administration that things are normal as expected. We need a better shift from the. Nobody should ever sit down to begin to compare Buhari's regime with any administration in this nation. Buhari's administration was a dead administration. Nigeria should not even mention it. It was 8 years of Nigeria going back. I mean, Nigerians went through suicide mission in Buhari's 8 years of administration. Nobody should compare. There's no way you compare Buhari's administration in any form of economy. Is it economy? Is it security? Where do you compare Buhari Buhari's administration. So if we are using Buhari's administration as a yardstick to measure for any incoming administration, we are missing it. So I think I'm not far from what the Alhaji said. We need a total shift from the from what we know before and what we are looking onto in this present administration, not minding that they are from the same APC as the ruling political party.
Barrister Jerry, because we have a lot actually to talk about. And why I'm talking about this for Dr. Mahdi is this. A couple of critics have actually said that, is it because they are not the cabinet is not formed with a lot of Arawas? For example, they criticized the doctor that during former President Muhammadu Buhari, we didn't hear him make such comments about, the formation of the cabinet and wherever the ethnic groups of the formation of the cabinet came from. So what would your reaction be to this?
He was observing eating manners. You don't talk when you are eating. So when it's a bad habit when you are eating, you're talking. Because when Buhari was in power, it actually favored the North. And we all condemned it. Okay. And that time I told them something. I said, look, most of you that believe that Buhari's nomination actually favored you and you have no reason to kick against it, the next administration might come up and then throw you off. And then you would have lost the moral grounds to come up to begin to speak against such inequity and inequality and everything. That was exactly what happened now. When somebody was saying Tinubu was fixing everybody from the southwest, and I said, okay, let him fix everybody from the southwest, from top to bottom. Let other part that believed that when Buhari did it and it favored them, felt like it was okay, let them feel the impact of being out of power too. So let them also feel it. Because when you are doing something that is benefiting you, you never know that, look, it may go around. So, but like, we don't want it to become a norm. Like my friend rightly stated here. Like when Obasanjo was in power, why Obasanjo was able to succeed. I told somebody, once I get into any establishment and I see a certain kind of pattern in the people, composition of people there, with a certain kind of tribe occupying sensitive positions, I already know that corruption is going on there. That deep corruption is actually going on in that establishment. Once I come to any establishment and see finance, major positions in that of company being held by people of the same tribe, give them few years, either that company will collapse or we hear about massive fraud that will be perpetrated. So that's the first step they will take. Because in Nigeria, some of them are not comfortable with somebody that's not from their tribe. So once they want to conceive something ominous, something anti-people, the first thing they do is to put their people in key positions. So they will manipulate them through their tribal sentiments. Because I remember what transpired when Yar'Adua was the president and this Onovo was IG of police. Something actually happened somewhere, which ordinarily would have been swept under the carpet. But Onovo took it upon himself to act. Yar'Adua didn't want to call him to order because Yar'Adua knew he was doing what is right. And if Yar'Adua happened to call him to order, Yar'Adua would indict himself. Yar'Adua kept quiet. Onovo made sure justice was ensured and that actually transpired. But if there had been Yar'Adua would have found a way to talk to somebody that would talk to him or whatever, he will pull out. And that injustice would have been, committed. So the only problem I have, which I will always voice out, with regards to ethnicity, religion, and all this anachronistic attitude towards governance in Nigeria regarding tribalism and nepotism, is issue of fraud. We looked at massive fraud that took place under Buhari's administration. They were able to successfully actualize that because of fraternity. Like what my friend said, meeting before meeting. Okay. A meeting that will attend, even you as a Nigerian. I told somebody, I think we discussed it, where I mentioned the issue of Nigerian having state police. I said, my fear is when you come to police and everybody is speaking the same language. And may God damn you if you don't understand that language and you don't have anybody you can talk to. That has been my fear. So but when you come to Nigerian police, nobody has ever accused Nigerian police of tribalism. But you can accuse them of corruption. But they will jointly deal with you. But the one bearing your badge, you see somebody bearing the name of your tribe and the badge dealing with you. At least you go home satisfied that somebody bearing the name of your tribe and the badge is among the team that deal with you. Nobody has ever accused police of tribalism, but you can accuse them of massive corruption and they will conspire and do it. But the point now is that when you now see all these things, then can you get justice? Can you come to office and have that sense of belonging? When you want to go through a certain cadre in the office, everybody you are seeing, even when they have treated you failing, or when they have treated you equitably, there might be this misconception that treatment was given to you because they are all from the same place. That even it was my people are dead, it would have been a different issue. So it's not building or it's not creating patriotism. Okay. But when you come to a system and see that they were well composed, whatever that will be the outcome of whatever that brought you there, you can go home in peace. Right. At least with that belief that this thing was done to you by your people. Because Nigeria has been down right from time of Buhari. Okay. Because of that nepotistic tendency that's entrenched in his government. Other tribes, other interests, and the other interested parties in Nigeria withdrew their support. Some became scared. Some became disenchanted. All right. And then again, whenever we want to make any appointment in Nigeria, we have to go to the roots of the foundation of this country. All right. Was it designed in such a way that a certain tribe will take over almost 70% of all the appointments? The founding fathers, what was their agreements? How did they come up to agree to become this country? Because they have sharing formula. They have a way they were sharing their things. All right. When we begin to do otherwise, you understand my point? Okay. It is antithetical to the foundation of the country. All right. So for me, even though I am not supporting what Madi said, I've never seen that Madi as a patriotic citizen of Nigeria. I always see him as somebody with a parochial mindset, speaking for the North. So he would have said that during the time of Buhari. But for the fact in Cape Mute during that regime, he can come here and become an emergency activist. All right. So we won't allow him to create that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Barrister Joe. Now, still ministers designate the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has made public the names of 8 ministers who were recently assigned roles by the President of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and whom they plan to take to court. Now, in a Twitter post shared on their official page on Thursday, SERAP listed the individuals as Nyesom Ezenwawike, the former governor of Rivers State, Bello Matawali, former governor of Zamfara State, David Umahi, former governor of Ebonyi State, Boyega Oyetola, former governor of Osun State, Simon Lalong, former governor of Plateau State, and also Bagudu Gaidam and Badaru. Now, SERAP outlined their intention to take legal action against these individuals, explaining that they aim to prevent them from receiving life pensions, free health care, luxurious vehicles, and various other allowances. This announcement garnered significant attention and discussion across social media platforms. Barrister Evans Ufeli, what's your take on what SERAP intends to do? Do you think it's the right call?
Yeah, what SERAP is trying to do has to do with the social welfare of the society vis-a-vis those who have served in governance, those who have been governors before, who have been reappointed. Okay, they've been reappointed and they are going to earn another set of funds and all that. I am not aware of any legislation, okay, that actually stops. Maybe there's one that I'm not aware of, or there's none, that actually stops someone who has served before in capacity as a governor from, serving and earning life pension from his previous duty and earning again on his present appointment. But I know that sometime not too long ago, the former governor of Ogun State, Otumba Gbenga Daniel, wrote a letter to the current governor of that state, asking that his pension be suspended, given that he has become a senator and all that. And I think that time too, I questioned the intention of that man. He's a senator. My first reaction, why didn't he raise it as a bill or a motion in the House for there to be a legislation to that effect, so that they can properly regard it. Now, what SERAP is going to do right now, SERAP is going to be bringing this action on perhaps fundamental right enforcement of this larger society on the economic injustice that is leveled against them, and perhaps they will find legislations that may not be expressed, but that may have certain level of connotation and sympathy to the larger public, that people who have earned money, who have life pension, and they are serving currently, and they are still going to earn from public purse again and all that. This issue we are talking about, this welfare, this amount they're going to spend on their accommodation. Most of these ministers were governors before. Okay. They all have houses in Abuja. Okay. And part of what SERAP is talking about is that by the time you now leveled the national treasury, reduce it to almost a level, and then you are going to use to empower people who are already empowered, people who are receive life pension, own the things you intend to use the same public fund to get them again. It is a whole lot of economic injustice, and it's so bad in our society. I would have thought those ministers who were governors before, they would have come together and raised the issue that please, because of the exigency of crime and the poverty in the nation, do not assign this fund to us. Do not pay us pension for now. Let's use this money to cater for the poor. That is how a society should run, a society that has sympathy for the poor. But not these people. They will not. They have not, except for Benga Dene, who did a nice service on the issue, who is a senator but could not sponsor a bill to that effect. These ones are just mute, waiting for the government to serve that welfare package to them. And after this time, you are going to see they'll come up with another one, issues of purchasing vehicles for them. Because the legislators have purchased.
Yes, they ask for vehicles, bulletproof vehicles,
yes.
accommodation allowance, which is to go up about 1.37 billion naira. These are monies, and then the government says they don't have money.
And they will come up with issues of a hardship allowance and those kind of their own hardship. Now the average
don't forget prayer has been sent to their account as well.
Those are issues. Then the average citizen of the country is unable to feed. He's asked to tighten his belt. He's told that the worst part of it is that the funds that the government misdirectedly wanted to send to families, 80,000 naira per family for whatever they call it, palliative, has been rechanneled now, and the money is being handed over to governors. This country is not a place to live. I'm telling you.
Barrister Evans. We're actually going to go there.
Yes. That's why. Okay, let me pull out from there.
Yes.
Let me close by saying that on this issue, that we need to look at the welfare of the masses. If we do not want an insurrection that is looming, because right now as we speak, even children are unable to go to school because the transport from their respective houses to their school. I mean, children in primary and secondary schools. I know them in public school who are unable to go to school. And the parents are not finding it funny. Their salaries have not been increased. The minimum wage is still at the lowest ebb. Okay? So we have to talk to these people. If possible, we need to do something about it to make sure that all these funds we are talking about is channeled to the grassroots and let the people have this money instead of these ones that have already made it.
Mr. Elvis, as quickly as possible, because we actually have a lot to talk about. What's your take on that?
Esther, I think my brother has said so much about it. What we are seeing is, apart from governors becoming ministers, remember there are some ministers who became governor and now they are back to become ministers again. That's like a three-way thing. Yeah, so they already have accommodation in Abuja. Why don't they even tell the federal government, whatever, that come on, we are comfortable with what we have? Let's channel this money to people that need it. Let's remember that they're going to be talking of wardrobe allowance. They're going to even be talking of newspapers allowance. They're going to be talking of all their aids. And they're going to be talking of their constituency offices. Remember, most of the constituency offices don't even exist. But the money are appropriated for all this. And at the end of the day, you discover that somebody will be telling you that how much is the budget of the National Assembly. We are not talking about the budget of National Assembly. We are talking about the welfare of Nigerians. Nigerians did not vote them to get in there and begin to wait for them to come and bring palliative of two derica of rice. Then you line up people for a whole day. Somebody was talking about Ikorodu local government, talking about palliative, sharing palliative. At the end of the day, they were sharing a bag of rice for 7 persons. For a palliative that were made for for each person. They now bring 10 people for 7. That was supposed to be for 7 persons. They bring 10 persons to share it. That was what they said. It happened last weekend. And at the end of the day, people now began to rush and began to pour away these things. Is that palliative? Is that what we are going to see? Is that what the government is telling us that they are going to use?
Mr. Elvis, apparently, the palliative money, a little bit of it, about 2 billion naira, have been given to state governors. Nobody heard anything about it. Some trucks of rice have also been sent to these governors. Nobody said anything about it until it was massively in the press that there is palliative already and that monies have been given to the state governors to ensure that, everyone gets it. The question now is, which I'll throw to you, Mr. Joe, is, are we sure that these monies will get to the people? How transparent will these proceeds be? Because if we have always had a transparent state governorship administration, I don't think most of the local governments and communities would be impoverished. I don't know if you get my drift.
Esther, it is not new with our governors. If not Wike that told Nigerians that Buhari released some money for them, the oil producing states, nobody would have heard. We saw Wike building at the last part of his administration so many flyovers and tying of roads, everything in Rivers State. But remember, it was not only Rivers that benefited from that money. All the other oil producing states, including my state, benefited. Including Barrister's state, benefited. Barrister Ofili. You remember now that Baba Edwin Clark is in the court now with your former governor, Okoa, because of that money.
Yes.
And because it's just like he just used that money to... Baba said he used it to sponsor the campaign of PDP.
Yes.
And he's in court now. If not, we could have revealed that. They never told us. So what we hear is that there is no money and they are doing their best. At the end of the day, let me tell you, every effort that is going to be made by the federal government, if it is not checkmated rightly, the state will truncate it, because the state governors are emperors in their respective states. They are worst. But unfortunately, we always look at the federal government. Let us begin to look at state and begin to look at local government. The corruption in those areas are monumental, Esther. But unfortunately, have you heard of EFCC going to pick up a local government chairman? We don't hear of it. We only hear of EFCC running after some governors, EFCC running after some ministers.
Who may not be in the same favor with possibly the president.
Because they are not in the good books of the ruling party. But if the EFCC is actually going to do its job very well, let it start from the beginning. Not this from top to bottom like Buhari's administration. Let's start from the top, from the bottom, and begin to take it up. You will discover that even your own councillor has cheated you so much that you don't know that part of what is supposed to come to your community, the councillor and his family has cornered it to themselves alone. We have to, scrutinize this process so that at the end of the day, what we saw that have been the norm before, there will be a drastic shift from it. If only the palliative we are expecting and this fuel subsidy that he has. I was speaking to one of my cousins this evening before I came to the studio. He drives these small buses. He said, "Bros, I don't go to work any longer." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because by the time I buy fuel 6,000 naira, I pay Agbero 3,000.
6,000, which is 10 liters.
Which is 10 liters. Then I cannot make 4,000 out of it. Then the boss is already showing red again. I'm going to buy. How much do I make in a day?" I said, you see, somebody will say, okay, you have a boss. You've packed at home. You are not working. You are a lazy person. But people will not know that. Nobody will just leave home and say, I'm going to the market to go and trade and go and bring losses. Why do you leave home to go and bring losses? You buy fuel for 6,000. You pay Agbero 3,000. That's 9,000. Then you are coming to work 4,000, 5,000. The fuel is already exhausted. You are going to buy again.
They said Luoma has spoken to these boys to not collect money from these drivers.
They decide the Agbero have not reduced whatever they are collecting from them. They have not reduced the couple of it. He was talking before I came to the studio now. He was with me. And I sympathize with him. You cannot imagine. School is resuming in September. This is somebody who has family. No preparation for his children to go back to school. The same thing goes around everybody. You see that Nigerians are just walking carcass on the streets. We are going. It is when school resumes in September you will see what this fuel subsidy removal have actually cost Nigerians.
The parents have actually cried out to the university and the state governments, including the federal government.
I don't even want to start mentioning that.
And they've increased school fees and makes this.
Exactly.
This. I made mention of it now. What Ambrosali collected from me when my son that just went to school. A session is a public university is collecting 400,000 for school fees. Imagine accommodation is not inclusive. Other things are not there.
School fee is 1.6 million.
1.6 million. Yes.
You said what?
1.6 million.
Law school.
Yes.
Is it private law school? Is it private law school?
No, the law school is for governments.
Governments run law school,
not university.
Council of Legal Education.
That's what where people go to law school after
I want to understand
graduation.
it.
After you have graduated from your various universities.
1.6.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I paid 400,000 at Ambrosali University for my son that just gained admission to read law.
So what you will say it.
I mean, who is happy? Who is happy in this nation?
This is not funny. Let's look at some ministries that the president dissolved, or he says is going to dissolve, and some he said he was going to merge as one. I and Mr. Elvis talked about it earlier today concerning the NDDC that was dissolved. Now, I was of the note that it's good as it was dissolved, because the people who are meant to get remunerations from the proceeds from the state, from the federal government, are not getting it.
The board was dissolved.
The board was dissolved, not the institute itself.
There is no minister designated that
yet for Niger Delta Ministry.
We are watching what the president wants to do, what he's trying to do. The board is what was dissolved, but there is no substantive minister named.
Yes.
For that ministry.
Why?
You go ahead.
I
thought you want him to respond.
Versus Joe.
Whoever that's very concerned with the question can respond.
Okay, now the issue is that the Ministry of Niger Delta was created.
Niger Delta.
Okay.
The Ministry of Niger Delta was created under the Buhari regime. Okay, which
Ministry of Niger Delta. Yes.
The Ministry of Niger Delta. The NDDC as a parastatal
it was Yaradua that created Ministry of Niger Delta.
I recall, because in 2020,
Yaradua.
We had that committee, the investigative committee.
You remember we have Orubebe one time as minister of that.
But it was established in 2000, though, June 5, 2000.
No, that is NDDC.
Yes, that's NDDC.
We're talking about the ministry. That's the parastatal. We're talking about the ministry.
All right.
Obasanjo
established NDDC.
Created it. Then, but the first minister we have is who? The first minister is Akpabio.
The
first minister there is Akpabio.
No, Akpabio, when Minister of Niger Delta was created, Akpabio was a governor.
No,
I think there was one.
This when it was made a ministry. It was made a ministry under Buhari.
Yes, it was a DG. They have like a DG ahead.
Yes, a director general
DG,
of the board before, when it was a parastatal.
Yes.
Now it's made a full-fledged ministry under Buhari, and the first minister is Akpabio.
Yes, I recall that was when a committee was set up based on complaints of corruption, abandoned projects.
Just check it. It has been in existence in 2000. Okay, when it was created by
Obasanjo. I was even one of the from Imo State.
Then it was a parastatal up until when they had issues and all that before they made a full-fledged ministry. Now it became a full-fledged ministry. Akpabio was the first minister of that this thing. Now the issue here is that this government dissolved the board because of the problem they're having between the chairman and the director. Yes, they have a lot of squabbles and all that are dissolved. Now there is ministerial appointment that have been done right now, and there is no minister assigned to that ministry as we speak right
There's
now.
an Evans where is the forensic audit that was meant to probe the activities of the commission from 2001?
Yes, there's a
the whole off the mic drama we saw at that committee.
Yes, there was a forensic audit that they believe by now should have been, and all that. But the truth is that the permanent secretary to that ministry has released a statement within the week asking that the current MD should continue. To continue until when the government makes a decision on the ministry. That's what is going on now. And I think that is a slight on Delta State, because that ministry is very, very sensitive and significant.
But has it been properly managed?
No, it has not been properly managed. But what you do is, because you know what it is now, you know when this militant starts, because we know how to create problems we cannot solve easily. They are mismanaging themselves. What you should do is to appoint, by law, it is a ministry. Appoint people, let them continue to mismanage themselves. Because now you have no minister assigned to that. The news is already all over the place. The boys everybody's aware that they want to shortchange that area. 9 states, 9 states, not just one state, 9 states own that NDDC. So at the end of the day, what they're going to have is they're still going to give government ultimatum to do this, that will go back to creek, and we shouldn't go back there. That's what I'm saying. So this government should do itself the good of going back to make sure the government has already violated the issue of appointing ministers within the stipulated time by law. Okay, it should go, because now you have 45 instead of 46. Okay, which is for a further violation. So let's have the full. Let us solve the problem.
Apparently there are 48 for now, but
Yes.
only 45. You know,
45,
that has been mentioned. So
45.
Yeah.
So let them create that and make that appointment. Then if you want to solve the problem there, solve it through the head of that the minister, who will now oversee the board and then put things right. That's the way to do it. But to omit it is like you are calling for what the Southeasterners are talking about. We have 5 states, you all have 6. Now you are giving us 5 ministers, you are giving others 8 and 9. Those economic injustices, they are very sensitive. A government that understands what it should not allow those issues of inequality to fester. If it fester, you create problem, you put burden on your administration, and you are not going to get it right, because this government is already making mistake from day one, from removing subsidy mistake, from handling money that belongs to governors who will not spend, who squander it.
That's what
they keep all their policies are mistakes.
They intend to give that money to the masses.
Yes.
All their policies
That
are
money
mistakes.
was used to just a giveaway.
All their policies are
do
mistakes.
you think,
the government.
Mr. Elvis, do you
I don't
think the
think this government
policies
knows what
were
they're doing.
about trial and error? Let's try this
No, but
and
it
see how
is.
it goes. Let's try and see how it goes.
The policies
The
of
policies of the first 100 days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
no, okay. The first 100 days. What are we talking about? It has
His
been
president
back and front policy somersault. But before I go into that, Esther, I think we'll just quickly correct this. The Ministry of Niger Delta was created in September 2008 by
Okay.
Yar'Adua's
The
regime.
ministry.
not
the
Niger
Delta Development Commission.
That was in 2000 by Obasanjo, and the first MD was Omene.
Okay.
That's Minister of, that is NDDC.
Okay.
Omene was the first MD. Then the Ministry of Niger Delta was created in September 2008 by Yar'Adua's administration, and the first minister was late Ufote Kaite.
Okay.
Ufote Kaite took it from 2008 to 2011. President Goodluck Jonathan now appointed that God's will Orubebe as the minister, who took it to 2014, 2015. Remember, during the collation of the election that brought in Buhari in 2015, Orubebe was trying to cause some stampede when the result was going
Well, he
going
was
the
being
other way,
dramatic.
being dramatic against PDP. Then he was still the sitting minister of Niger Delta. It was after then before Godswill Akpabio
came on board.
in. So that's for that. But I don't even think there is anything to be talked about 100 days, whatever. All we have seen, whatever in these 100 days, whatever is policy somersault. They make pronouncement before considering it and coming back to withdraw it. I think that's that's what we have seen. We've seen it in the floating of the naira. We've seen it in the removal of subsidy. We are also seeing it now, even he has even carried it as far as ECOWAS, even making the same statement in ECOWAS, giving an ultimatum before thinking, and now the ultimatum, after all the ultimatum has elapsed, now you see they are now still sending delegates to see how they can make peace. So what we have seen, I mean, after the whole ultimatum has elapsed, so what we have seen about whether 100 days or not in Nigeria in this administration is all about back and front. They make pronouncement before they think of it again, and coming back to start withdrawing it when that pronouncement would have caused a lot of hardship, a lot of frustration and disappointment in Nigeria.
They redecide.
They start redesigning and deciding it.
Okay. All right, Barrister Jerry, my next question will be to you. So, apparently, the Nigerian government's recent decision to crack down on billboards featuring the message, "All eyes on the judiciary," has sparked controversy and ignited a debate about freedom of expression. All right. Now, the role of billboards in public discourse and the government's relationship with the judiciary is basically what was brought in on the table. Now, the government accused the sponsors of the billboards of attempting to blackmail the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Now, in response, it ordered the immediate removal of the "All Eyes on the Judiciary" advertisements and the sanctioning of those responsible. Meanwhile, critics argue that the government's actions infringe on citizens' rights to freedom of expression. The message, all eyes on the judiciary was widely interpreted as a call for citizens to remain vigilant and hold the government accountable, particularly in the context of ongoing legal proceedings related to the presidential election. Many see the crackdown as an attempt to silence a legitimate call for transparency and civic responsibility. Now, still on that, because I actually want you to know what that development has caused. We do know that Nigerians are in bated breath awaiting the verdict of various of the election petition tribunal across the federation. Some concerned citizens have concluded plans for a 1 million man march across some cities in the country on the need for judges handling election cases to be above board. The 1 million man march, with its motto as "Let us take back Niger," is holding from the 28th of August, starting in Lagos, Delta, August 2, and Edo, Port Harcourt, and Anambra State. Now, according to the group,
August or September?
No, September.
no,
2.
for Lagos, it's going to take place on August 28th.
Yes.
In Delta, 30th of August. In Port Harcourt, September 1, and Anambra to September 1. Now, according to the group, the march will hold across the nation in solidarity and support for the judiciary for them to uphold justice in Nigeria at the ongoing election petition tribunal. So, which is basically to us when the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria suspended those who were responsible for approving that billboard to be put up there. That was where it created a lot of reaction. Initially, when the billboard was set up, it was just, okay, Nigerians are just... But when the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria put a searchlight on it, it made a lot of people begin to speculate. What exactly is the government concerned about? How is this a breach of public peace? That's a question that was asked. Barrister Joe, do you think that billboard is putting pressure on the judiciary? Do you think that billboard is breaching public peace? Do you think that billboard is going to incite to cause civic anarchy, and the march being held by the people? Is it the right call? Now, you do know the experience of October 2020. So what's your take on this development?
The billboards didn't offend anything in law. Within my own knowledge of the law, within my own exposure, and within my years in practice, and as a court-going lawyer also, because I've tried to look at it from so many legal lens and from so many perspectives and avenues. I looked at the area you've just mentioned, breaching public peace. I didn't see it coming from that angle. I looked at the area of a kind of scandal, slander, or defamation. Mm-hmm. They didn't mention anybody's name.
What if it's what's intimidating?
I looked at the person that's been intimidated. I didn't see any judge or any court mention. Judiciary is an embodiment of everything that has to do with courts.
Okay.
And the things related to courts. They didn't even mention even whether it is magistrate court, whether it is customary court, whether it is what they call a caddy court, whether it is a high court, whether it's appeal court, or whether it is Supreme Court. Do you understand my point? They didn't mention any court. They mentioned judiciary. And why won't all eyes be on the judiciary, which is the hope of the common man? Why won't you have an eye where your hope is? Even as a common man, are you going to shift your eyes from there? I remember what Bishop Benson, the host of the Blessed Memory, said. He said, they said, it's my trumpet. And they're accusing me of blowing it. So why are you blowing your trumpet? When the trumpet is mine, and I'm blowing it, and you are seeing I'm blowing my trumpet, and you call it my trumpet. And you say, I'm blowing it again. And it was like, was yet to understand what that means. When somebody says somebody's blowing his trumpet. Because when you say all eyes on the judiciary arm of the government is the hope of the common man. And they have to look at them. They have to look at what they do. They have to look at laws, judgments they give. Because whatever judgment, whatever decision that comes from judiciary affects the living standard of the people, the peaceful case of the people, the nationalism, the patriotism, and everything that has to do with their nation. So if such an important aspect of a country is in the eyes of the people, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. But because the people that actually felt a kind of endangered or frightened by that thing might have perceived that they have something ominous or something somewhere they're hiding But if the people that now they have all eyes on the judiciary, maybe will no longer succeed
there are
in
banners and
perpetrating
slogans across,
yes, when they
across
say
everywhere.
that when you give a certain kind of proverb, certain people will feel offended, even without mentioning their names. So all eyes on the judiciary. Why won't we look at our judiciary? More so when we have election petitions pending at different courts, and they want justice to be done. People were the ones that voted. They know who they voted, they know how they voted. And they must be interested in what. So let me tell you something I always tell people. Nigeria has a very, very low level of knowledge, awareness about judiciary and the things that happen in the courts and all that. And it's not good. And I remember...
But this time around, there's a huge participation in following.
No, but in judiciary, I remember the client that told me that he went to bank and something like that, I handed him one letter. Do you know when this client came to me? It was actually court judgment, garnishee proceedings. Absolutely, they gave him. And I didn't even look at it. I was like, having intention that they gave me a letter in the bank. When I look at this, it was garnishee absolute. And he didn't know what it is. Because they never bothered to know what this is. Sometimes I can't say, they'll tell you, they say I should write a letter to court. They say I should get one letter from court. They don't even know what it is. And is it I always tell people, like, look, we have to elevate the knowledge, the awareness of Nigerians towards judicial activities. But they don't even have an inkling of what is going on in the courts. And they misinterpret all these things. And now they want to put their eyes there. In South Africa, some of them will even tell you what they want to do in court. They will guide you. They have this high level of awareness of things in court, how to file action, what they need, even their prayers, their reliefs, everything about what they want. You as a lawyer, you are just representing them because you have the capacity under the law to do that. But they already know everything about what you're supposed to do. They have their constitutions, they read them. They know about hierarchy of courts. But now we don't know that within our citizens.
Okay.
And people are feeling offended because they're afraid of something.
All right.
The point is that all eyes on the judiciary, like I rightly said, they didn't mention either PDP, they didn't mention APC,
or
they didn't mention
Party.
Labour, they didn't mention any judge, they didn't mention any court, they didn't mention any name. And it is the right of Nigerian citizens to have their eyes on the judiciary. But because the powers that be, like I said, they know what is actually occasioning their fears that made them to begin that crackdown. Because it is not advisable for them to have done that. And by doing so, they have contravened on the freedom of expression of the people.
So you're of the note, you are of the note that it infringes on the civic rights of the people.
Yes, chapter 4,
in terms of freedom of expression. Okay.
And yeah, they have infringed on that. People have the right to rightly express their views and their opinions.
All right. Mr. Elvis.
I am a member of Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes.
That's APCON.
APCON.
All right.
And we are regulated by APCON. That's the body.
The Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria.
So we have code and of conduct and ethics of advertising as a profession in this nation.
All right.
Some of them is one of the where they are coming from is that an advert must not incite the people against the government.
Is it inciting?
No, listen. That's where they are coming from.
Okay.
They said that advert was not vetted.
It was not vetted.
Yes, that's what
it went
said.
through. They suspended the directors.
They said it was not vetted, but now they are saying that those people who have the responsibility to vet that advert before that billboard was placed are people that are suspended now and the people that are being questioned. So
you're saying that right now we have a lot of adverts on billboard that are not vetted by the Advertising Practitioners or the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria.
There are some that goes through the back door.
So you're saying all eyes on the judiciary billboard went through the back door?
No. But that's what they told us. So it is not left for those people who the clients who paid for that billboard to be able to tell Nigerians that this is the process we went through, because there is no outdoor advertiser.
Elvis, do you know that for radio and television stations we have a regulatory council, the Nigerian Broadcast Commission.
Yeah.
The same thing too for APCON, the regulatory body. Now, do you know that for any advert that comes on radio or TV, you must have the APCON certificate, meaning that APCON has approved it.
Yes, that is.
If it is not approved, this especially Voice of the People, if you do not have your APCON certificate, Voice of the People will not be able to air your adverts.
You cannot.
You cannot.
Yes.
In fact, do you know that you will be called billboard by APCON themselves, or the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, to ask you
stop the
to stop that ad.
Yes.
We have experienced that. It tells you they listen to radio stations. You cannot tell me that billboard wasn't vetted by those who are meant to vet it before going up there.
That's why I'm saying that.
And do you think that the people who allowed that billboard up there, do you think they thought that phrase, all eyes on the judiciary, was inciting before they allowed it to go up?
That's exactly what we are talking about here, that the people who vetted it will now come and defend how it, the angle they look at it before they allow it to say true. 1, 2, then it will not be interpreted by the lawyers, the judiciary, that like Barrister have just said, that it did not infringe on the right of people, because everybody is actually looking at judiciary as the last resort. So, and it says something here that struck me now, that they are talking about the judiciary generally. Nobody is talking about the election petition tribunal. They are not saying I on election petition tribunal. They're talking about judiciary. That is a key point. So those people who vetted that advert can say that this thing we actually approved it because they made mention of judiciary. They were not particular about a particular court, or we are looking at election petition tribunal, that's why all eyes on. So in that case, I don't think election petition tribunal has been indicted. We are talking about judiciary. It could be customary. I could have a case in the customary court, and which I also want justice. Yes. And I will also play that. I will also point to even the judges and whatever, I say, all eye on you, because I have a case here.
And we have been calling on judiciary.
Everybody has been calling on judiciary. So now APCON have come up and say pull it down, and that the officers that are involved in the vetting and approval are under suspension and all that. So we are going to hear the angle that the people that are suspended, they are going to come up to defend the job they did by allowing that advert to break and be hung up there. Because apart from even the judiciary, remember that most of the food adverts, apart from getting approval from APCON, you also go to NAFDAC.
Exactly.
All the food and beverages adverts.
Councils.
These are councils. Even if you're also doing for all these showbiz people, you have to get from this human right, this copyright, whatever people, a censor board. They have to also get it. We do all this for our clients before we go to newspapers or before we go to radio and televisions. So for the advert to be at that strategic location to be hung, somebody has approved it, and that person did not see anything wrong with it. So we are looking at those people should come up and defend the angle they looked at it before vetting it and approving it for the billboard to be hung.
Barrister Evans,
the protest they want to organize across the nation as a response to that is quite completely endorsed by me.
It's endorsed by
me.
But I'm expecting that something will come up to stall it. They wouldn't allow that.
I know. In their characteristic man, they will deploy DSS and police and the rest of them.
Let me take a bite on that issue.
But Barrister Evans, that's what I wanted to ask you a question about that. So when this, initially when that billboard was set up, I think it was in Warrior, Edo State. It was just one billboard. Everybody was like, oh, really? Okay, everybody is actually participating on what is going on at the Election Petition Tribunal, although no name was mentioned. But immediately APCON put a searchlight on it. I have never seen such an aggressive mode of advertising.
Even made it to become popular.
They made that phrase very popular.
Yes.
So the question I wanted to ask you is there anything at all to hide? I am a broadcaster. I want to understand in what way that particular phrase was incited, because according to Regulatory Council, they said it's going to incite the breach of public peace. It's also putting pressure on the judiciary, and that it is not the right call. And then they suspended those who were meant to vet it. During the elections, Barrister Evans Sufeli, before the elections came on board during the campaign, we saw a lot of billboards that taught us how to go about our voting process. They actually talked about voting infractions and the due punishments that will be alluded to anyone who participates in election fraud, election malpractices. These are awareness methods, put across for orientating to people on how to go about it. I want to ask you though, do you think that there was an intent? Whoever put that up, that's 1. 2. Is that something that is being hidden by the government that they do not want people to know? Because these are the things that cause speculation.
On the issue on that reference, I did media law very well. I haven't taught media law. I have been teaching that course for some time, and I understand that they have rules and regulations and code for advertising.
Yes.
But all the rules and regulations and code for advertising do not override the Constitution. I have seen a lot of some of their ethical codes that are contrary to Chapter 4 of the Constitution, some of the provisions on expression. But the issue is that all those that have been suspended and whatsoever, they have not committed any offense, because, first of all, if a statement is made and you want to find a legal infraction on the statement, it's either the statement is defamatory, whether it's slanderous or is a libel, or that it reduces the reputation or disparages the reputation of a person or an institution in the eyes of the right-thinking members of society and all that. But this expression, they have no such. The concept is even look deeper. There's what they call sarcasm in media law, innuendo in media law. This expression does not even fall in any of them. It's not an infraction, and it's not an exception to any rules of infraction in the media law. So what you have there is a society that is obsessed, that is being chased by its past. Some persons have done the wrong thing during the process that brought an administration into office. And those persons are scared of the consequences of that. They don't want to live by the consequences of that action. Therefore, any expression, it's not just this one that you find agitation against.
Okay.
There are some platforms that you go and say if you just write anything that the judiciary must be upright, they must do the right thing. There are a lot of people who are come and attack you. Why are you calling on the judiciary to do the right thing? Why are you stating that the judiciary should do this or that? Because some people have created that event which will always chase them. It is the fear of the consequences of their action that is dealing with this set of persons. Now, when they came and said the expression is incisive, you ask yourself, what is incisive here? What is it that incites here the public? There is nothing in that expression that incites the public. The judiciary is what we are talking about. The judiciary is the last hope of the common man. In fact, the judiciary is what the public reach out to at every point in time, because it has the power of what they call judicial review. When actions and activities have been concluded and a party is not satisfied, it takes it and subjects it to the judiciary for judicial review. Judiciary come and review this activity, whether it is within the bounds of law, whether this particular activity was done according to law. That's exactly what is going on.
Okay.
So calling people to put eyes on the judiciary, for me, the soundboard is not even relevant.
All right.
Whether or not you have a soundboard, everybody's looking onto the judiciary.
All right. We need to take phone calls, actually. So, but before we do that, we still have two topics to look into as quickly as possible. Bayo Onanuga, the director of media and publicity for the APC's party's 2023 presidential campaign, has taken to social media to claim that Peter Obi, the candidate of the Labour Party, is now playing politics with his colleagues in the political arena without resentment, by allying himself with the ruling party chieftains. Now, here is what happens. Newspaper executives and businessmen named Bayo Onanuga made his claim on Twitter. Now, you do recall that Peter Obi, who we do know as the former governor of Anambra State and the Labour Party's presidential candidate, attended the wedding of Barao Jibrin's son, the deputy Senate president, in Kano State yesterday. The businessman could be seen alongside Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Deputy Senate President Barao Jibrin, and other APC figures in photos from the wedding that were published on Twitter a short while ago. However, these images have sparked a lot of comments from Nigerians. Bayo Onanuga, for example, called out the Obidients on his official Twitter account by claiming that their political candidate is now engaging in politics devoid of resentment by socializing with APC politicians. And so he said the Obidients should take notice that Peter Obi is now engaging in politics without resentment by socializing with APC leaders. Do you think at all Peter Obi, number one, is a presidential candidate of a political party, which is the Labour Party? Two, does he have restrictions to attend certain government functions or public forums of whatever capacity, regardless of who are the individuals that are in attendance? That's a question. 3, are they judging him by the persons who he gets to be involved with, or persons whom he takes photos with, or functions that he attends that possibly could, be members of other opposition parties? In what way, through what, Bayo Onanuga is saying, was there any form of alignment politically, in terms of political terms, political affiliation? So is there anything wrong, though? I'm just objectively asking because I need to understand why this is an issue. Is there anything wrong that he attended a function for a wedding? Who knows? These are politicians. The fact that there are differences does not mean that they don't have business relationships. It does not mean that in time past they haven't crossed paths. Remember, he was a former governor of Anambra State. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Elvis.
There's nothing wrong, Esther. Politicians are always looking for where to drum up unnecessary support where it is not necessary.
Okay.
Peter Obi is a public figure. If Peter Obi becomes president of Nigeria today, it's possible that he become father of all
nations.
And that would be there's no longer politics in governance. When you are not there is nothing like politics. Whoever invites him and he has a chance to go, he will honor him. Remember that Peter Obi, the deputy, the man whose son welded, is the deputy senate president. Mm-hmm. And in that same
deputy senate president in Kano State.
Yes, in that same Harlow chamber, where he is the deputy senate president, the second person in command in that Harlow chamber, there are Labour parties senators there. Some of them would have also been there. So why are they carrying enmity into politics? The politics does not have to do with enemy. We should not play it as if we are enemies. We are talking about just one interest, the welfare of Nigerians. Whoever is there, whether it's APC, it's Labour Party, it's PDP, Nigerians will begin to talk about their welfare and let that Nigerians be able to breathe well and be able to be proud of their country where necessary. And Nigerians can feed and take their children to school. So all this one I think Bayo Onanuga, as far as I'm concerned, is a very senior colleague. Is much more civilized than this. These are just petty. These are just petty politics. Peter Obi can socialize with anybody. That does not stop him from, following up his track record as politically. Just that it's just the political difference. The case is in the court. If eventually brought in tomorrow, and even the same Bayo Onanuga's son or daughter is wedding, and he's so chanced, he will be there. There's nothing to be polarized here. There's nothing to use to pull him down here. These are just nothing. It's just wedding of his son. It could be anybody's son.
All right, Barrister Joe. Apparently, Barrister Joe, former President Muhammadu Buhari's aide Bashir Ahmed, who was part of his digital, I think it was digital media. Digital media. Barrister Joe. He actually made a comment when that story, it broke out, or when they decided to make it such an issue. So he said that Peter Obi has eventually joined real politics and that he is happy for him. So, it was via a tweet. He said, Peter Obi attended a wedding of Deputy Senate President's son in Kano today. Peter has joined the real politics. I am happy for him. Exactly what does this mean? I don't know. Can you come closer to the microphone, please? Come closer to the microphone. Okay. Yes, thank you.
Peter wouldn't have gone to that wedding without invitation.
Okay.
I don't think that Peter B. I know very, very well. I know I told people that Peter B. came to my father's birth. That was the first outing as a governor. Some people don't know that. I don't want to make certain things open about Peter B. I know Peter B. on certain level. Very, very well. Very, very well. Peter B. is not a person that will stop what he's doing because it's like having a kind of fraternity with you. He's so much principled that he believes in justice. And he can sacrifice anything to get it. Peter B was the same Catholic, was a knight of St. John.
The question is that what exactly?
I'm talking about Chris Ngige.
I'm talking. Let's not go about whatever. We just want to understand what the hula baloo is about him attending the wedding.
Is making.
Okay.
Then he didn't understand the person of it. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Peter B was the same Catholic knight with Ngige when he was in Tribuna in Anambra State. Even when Catholic Church called him to withdraw, he said no. They were the same knights. They were in the same Catholic Church under one bishop. But they were coming to church. They were there in every activity. Okay. And Peter was still pursuing his matter against Ngige as a serving governor. So he never said because they were so close, and they're in the same church, in the same everything, same night, and he's going to like withdraw.
So is Bayo Onanuga expecting that Peter Obi will not attend functions of persons who have an opposing political party?
The problem they have is that they don't understand the man Peter Obi. Peter Obi can attend that event if he's invited. He doesn't play politics of bitterness, but it doesn't as well stop him from pursuing whatever he's pursuing.
Barrister Evans,
just my point now.
All right.
So what Bayo Onanuga is saying is that he's just trying to like create a kind of non-existent kind of scenario. Because
when there is nothing to
in any opportunity they find themselves, they always try to like create something around Peter Obi that might be laughable.
Because now there's one thing I just want to
what is it?
Very, very well now. Why is Bayo Onanuga even making that statement?
I think not just him, a couple of other persons who reacted.
Why are they making the statement? They are now feeling that because Peter Obi attended that event, he's now maybe craving to become part of APC, or he has deprived him the right
to real politics.
What real politics? If he's under invitation and he feels that he wants to go, we have seen Peter Obi attending so many events all over the federation, both in school, both in the churches, both burials and other things. And he's somebody that wants to rule Nigeria. He has intention of becoming Nigerian president. So for the fact they have intention of ruling Nigeria,
not rule, to serve
or to rule or whatever, to become Nigerian president. So if something is happening somewhere and he feels like he wants to like attend to, or do my point, to show solidarity or to show concern or to be part of it, it doesn't stop him from maintaining his principles.
All right.
Let's not forget that some years ago when Buhari's son wedded, Atiku Abubakar was the father of the day of that occasion.
And he was of the opposing political party.
I mean, they are not. Atiku Abubakar is not in APC; he's in PDP, and Buhari was the sitting president then. He attended and was made the father of the day of that occasion. So there is nothing to be brought out of. This is politics of old era. We should live above this.
Barrister Evans, during the campaign, we saw President Bola Tinubu now and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party together at a particular point. I think they were either at the airport or they were somewhere. They were going towards the same location. We saw them shake hands. We saw them laugh. We saw them talk together. But they were campaigning for the same office, and they were using various strategies. In some instances, they threw brickbats at each other.
Yes.
But the way they met together,
one was asking the other, "Are you stranded?"
Exactly.
And they were laughing.
So the question now is, why is this such a big deal, though? I just want to understand why it's a big deal.
The Twitter people and the social media people, and including this
Bayo Onanuga,
this man, are people who don't want to grow. They are enemies of democracy. Democracy or party leaning does not mean you should extricate yourself from the human front. Okay. We're all, first of all, human beings before any other political inclination. And because some people want to reduce politics to bitterness and straight jackets, enclosure, so that if you are from this party and you are pursuing this dream, the person who is from the other party is pursuing that dream should be your enemy. That is what they are trying to do.
Okay. And
that, for me, is not the right way to politic if you want to be progressive-minded. Right. Peter Obi have a right to attend any event as long as he's invited or he has been called to maybe serve or do anything in that. So, it's his right to do so. But people always want to throw badges at Obidients. They will throw something and see how the Obidient will react. Sometimes it's just mischief. They want to throw it and see what the reaction will be, whether the people who are supporting Peter Obi will turn against him and start a war against him. This is not the first time.
Okay.
There was a time Peter Obi went somewhere and even some of the Obidients rose and said he shouldn't be there. There are people with low-minded, low self-esteem, low everything low, who want to box you into a corner, define you by the limit of their thoughts. So those kind of people, you do not...
there have been allegations against Peter Obi that the reason why he is pursuing the issue at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is not necessarily for him. They say that he knows that possibly he has lost, but that because of his supporters and followers who are pushing for him, that is basically why. So, and that possibly he's being controlled by I think the person who made that statement was either Fani Kayode who made that statement.
A lot of people say that, forgetting that that he had the same experience in his state
in Anambra State
before he became a governor, and after he had become a governor and he had been impeached. He followed his fate to the logical conclusion. So people make political statements like that because they are hired to do so. They are paid to do so that they can make them ministers. If they are not able to get a minister, they will make them
special advisor.
And once you give them food, they start to cry. Obasanjo just said it, that these persons, spokesmen here and there, we saw during the campaign how people were pursuing spokesmanship. I was approached to be the spokesman of one of the political party, one of these, what they call them, one small political party.
SDP? Which one?
These something. To be a spokesman to one of these. I said, I will not be able to do this thing. Because people were running after being a spokesman, fighting over it, so that eventually they will become whatever it is they want to become. I'm saying that the way we go about politicking in this country, if we are not careful, we are going to create. Already we are not managing democracy proper. We are not being able to handle it. Now it's just about survival. Everybody is survivor. When a country reduces its citizens to survival at every front, you will always have this kind of thought, and it is the lowest of the low. I think it should not be accepted.
Now, during the week, there was an unfortunate incident that took place where there was an ambush of the Nigerian military. 30 of them were, ambushed and they were killed by Boko Haram. Also, ISWAP claimed that they shot down an evacuation plane that came to evacuate some of the stranded soldiers at Shiroro. Unfortunately, they gunned it down and they all died. The video was taken by a particular splinter group of bandits. They call themselves a certain name. Now, that they said that the army keeps on sending these young innocent boys to come along, to that route, that they do not mean to kill these boys, but as it is, they have to protect themselves. And the question is, if the government sort of has an intelligence on who the persons responsible, the persons who are sponsoring Boko Haram, the persons who are giving information to either Boko Haram or the bandits or any ISWAP member, why kill a lot of young persons in the act of trying to act like you are fighting terrorism? Who are the individuals benefiting from terrorism, benefiting from using this kind of opportunities for an ethnic cleansing? Who are these individuals? Before you respond to that, I'd like to open the phone lines. The number to call is 0700 903 903 903. That's the number, 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number that you can send your messages to is 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 9039. That's the WhatsApp number. And the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. Quickly, Barrister Evans, please.
What's aircraft?
Yes.
If you know about aircraft and military operation, it's not a rescue aircraft.
Okay.
The aircraft is a tiny jet.
It's a very small one, yes.
It's not the kind of aircraft we use in rescue mission, except the rules of military has changed. I mean, for them to say that it was to rescue and they shut it down and the rest of it. Before
that expose came by those bandit splinter group, the government just said it was a crash. Like crash landed.
Yes.
Before we now saw infos that it wasn't a crash, they were actually gunned down.
Yeah, that they were shot down. That's
they were shot down.
The insurgents
responded
and said they shot it down. The evidence is not clear. The evidence is not clear because the satellite we have, we don't make use of the video footage of our satellite. So there's no CCTV camera there to watch and say, okay, truly it was shot down or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, I'm going to believe it was a pinch of salt because in the past, the sergeant has said a lot how they shot this down, shot that down. And at the end of the day, it didn't.
Did you see the video of those insurgents? Did you see the ammunition they held?
I saw it.
So you don't believe that jet was gunned down?
No, I'm not completely dismissing that it was gunned down. I'm saying anybody can lay claim to that
incident,
that action, and
okay.
Shut it down.
Although the Nigerian army said they're investigating,
they should give us the satellite video footage to see, just like
I think.
Places.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Evans.
I think some time ago, Goodluck Jonathan told Nigerians that Boko Haram has infiltrated his government then when he was in power.
Hello, good evening. I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, go ahead. Good evening. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and
Good
location,
evening.
please?
My name is George Philip. I'm calling from Lagos.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
We're talking, I'm sorry to, I don't know. We're talking about banditry.
Okay, we lost that connection. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please.
My name is Mr. Raymond.
All right.
I want to...
Mr. Raymond, location.
Yes. I'm calling from Okasa.
Okay, Alpha. All right, go ahead.
Okasa in Isolo.
Okay.
Niger Delta Ministry was created by late Mario Adua.
Okay.
So there was a minister before that time when Jonathan came to 2011. He said that he put another minister.
Thank you.
Bayo was not the first minister.
All right. Thank
We
you.
have already corrected
Thank
that.
you. We already corrected ourselves.
Again, the presenter, please, when they ask questions,
All right.
allow people to answer the question.
They're answering. Okay, we have a lot of things to talk about, so they're answering. Is that all? Do you have anything to say, please?
Thanks.
0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello, good evening.
Hello, Madam Esther. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
Fine. I'm Emeka from Ejibo.
All right, go ahead, Nemeka.
Madam, please, I want to tell the person that is criticizing Peter Obi that if Shei Tinubu, Shei Bela is her son, if Shei Tinubu they do wedding today, fight Peter Obi will go there.
Okay.
Peter Obi is an distant politician. He's not all these distant politicians here.
Okay.
He know what he's doing.
All right. Thank you.
And another thing, getting these people they are bringing down. When they shout thief in the market, you start to run. You research your conscience. You tell me either there is two ways for a thief. Either you drop what you steal, or you run with it at the end of your life. That is it. But God bless you, my dear.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello. Hello. Hello, you're live. Okay, we lost that connection. Mr. Elvis, you were responding to something. We're talking about the allegation that was made by the Kano State Election Petition Tribunal. Now, they are saying that the NBA has responded and asked her, that is Judge Flora Azinge, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who attempted, she said that somebody attempted to bribe her with 10 billion naira, and the association has taken it up. So the question now is, they're asking her to name the culprit so that they have set up a panel to investigate it. Now, this came as a result of what is going on at the Election Petition Tribunal, where Nigerians are waiting with bated breath for the eventual proclamation of who actually won the February 25 election. And based on what she said that sometimes it's not even the judges who actually ask for bribe, that the lawyers themselves come to induce these judges with humongous amount of monies. Sometimes, they whatever need it is that they need, they give it to them. So the question is, do we see that happening with the Election Petition Tribunal? Do we see that taking place at all?
It has started happening in Kano already. We have to give it to this madam, the judge that Arinze, that her boldness to even mention it, because it's happening. Some of them are not mentioning it. And you have to also look at where NBA and all of that will come in to play their own role here. Why will a lawyer who is meant to, prosecute and come up with, his own argument, whether he's right or wrong, and as trusted as they are in the society?
Hello? 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 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. That's the WhatsApp number to send your messages to. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please.
My name is Mr. Wango Jerry from Mandela Junior. I'm calling from Agudebe.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, first and foremost, I want to commend you and the station.
Thank you.
In fact, I want to rename your station, pardon me, the New Nigerian Station. Yes. My regard to your guest today. You always have a wonderful guest.
Yes, thank you, my guest. You guys are wonderful.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, on the issue from the statement from the chair.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch closely, you discover that most of all these boards, they've been failing us. Because for me, my own opinion is that if you watch those people they want to remove whatever, it is a call for. If you work at a particular place and eventually you are elevated to higher place, if you did well, it is better. You are entitled to, you have the right to entitlement. But all this so-called selected fews that we call our rulers, I call them rulers, like my governor of my state, Dave Umai, he didn't do well for me. So I see no reason why you would appointed to higher place of a minister. Look at the former governor of River State, being the administrator of Abuja. That post is not made for him. You know it's not made for him. It's supposed to be a northerner holding that particular appointment. But however, what you are looking for is a new Nigerian. Okay. And like as somebody have accused him of attending a wedding or wherever, I'm not surprised anyway. One of my leader or founder of one of their society always call it a petit jealous. They have petit jealous for that young man. I respect the man.
Okay,
and
thank you.
Sure okay.
Thank you.
So I'm happy with you.
Thank you. 0700-903-903-903. That's the number to call. 0700-903-903-903. The WhatsApp number is 0700-903-9039. We're currently streaming live on YouTube at Voice of the People 90.3 FM on YouTube. So you can virtually be part of the conversation and actually send us your comments, and then we'll definitely be able to read it here. I have a WhatsApp message here. Good evening, everybody, and happy Sunday. My name is Kunle Major from First Act Town, and I want to tell you guys that the aircraft was not brought down by the bandits in Niger State. Oh, please, they're just trying to make a gain, my people. Okay, thank you so much, Kunle, for that message. Okay, we've lost that connection. 0700-903-903-903. That's the number to call. 0700-903-903-903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700-903-9039. All right, Mr. Elvis, you were saying before.
Yes, I'm throwing this challenge to the bench and the bar. They should look at what is actually going on. Okay. Especially lawyers are people of confidence, are people that if you confide in them.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. This is Miracle from Ikotu.
Miracle, go ahead, Miracle.
Yeah, you see, I don't know, our country is a very funny country, actually, because the EFCC, they have a logo. That's the eagle eye. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The eagle eye. So the EFCC says the eagle eye is watching you, whatever you do. I hope you used to hear that thing that they used to say the logo
yes.
In signal that the EFCC tell you that the eagle eye is watching. It's like that, you see. So you see that statement is intimidating or is embarrassing or is, I don't know, to the public. If you don't have anything that you are hiding, or if you're not having any illegal funds or anything, you're not supposed to be afraid of the eagle eye watching you. You understand? And if you except you are a connie or you are you're a suspect like financially, then you be afraid. I don't see why that billboard, the all eyes on the judiciary, is becoming a problem. It's not supposed to be. So just, I don't know how to put it. I'm just trying to gag people from not speaking out. That's what I see, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miracle. Thank you so much. Barrister Elvis, Barrister Elvis, Barrister Evans Sufili, this next question is for you. Do you think the NBA is taking the right call, in trying to investigate what the justice said, the judge said in Kaduna, where she made a statement that some lawyers tried to bribe them with, some financial inducement or something, and that most times people will call lawyers, judges are, showing favoritism or not giving the right judgment. What's your take on the NBA's reaction?
Yes, there's a disciplinary committee of the NBA.
Okay.
That is, by convention and law, meant to discipline erring lawyers.
Okay.
This profession is a noble profession. This profession have rules and regulations, and any lawyer who is found wanting of this will be dealt with. For the bench, they have their own. The NJC is the one that regulates the judges and discipline according to the rules and regulation at that level. Then for the bar, we have the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee of the NBA, charged with that responsibility to make disciplinary measures to lawyers who have been found wanting. There are a lot of issues, misconduct, that if a lawyer is found wanting on that, one of which is this issue of receiving and bribing judges, receiving money to bribe. In fact, there are cases where there was a case where an SN was derobed. That portfolio, which is a privilege, was taken off. Not just, there are two of them so far I know. Okay, very senior lawyers who have made themselves of disrepute because of the actions they undertook. So the NBA is in order. In fact, if the NBA had not taken this action, there are lawyers who will call for the head of that disciplinary committee to take action, or to accuse the head of that disciplinary to be in dereliction of her duties.
Okay.
If they are not taking that action, that is the right action to take. The conduct of lawyers must be that should be like Caesar's wife above board, and we hold that very dear in this profession. And that is exactly what.
Hello. Hello. Kindly turn down the audio of your radio. Turn it off completely. Please, when you call, completely turn off the audio of your radio. The feedback doesn't let us hear what you want to say. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello.
Good evening.
Evening. Name and location, please.
My name is Pastor Clement Egwuatu. I'm calling from Ojo.
From Ojo? All right. Go ahead, please, Pastor.
Actually, I discovered that these people have various topics in this program.
We have what?
Different topics.
Yes.
You talk about P2B, talk about Boko Haram.
Yes.
I want to contribute to the banditry.
Okay, please. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Is it every year or every time we keep on talking about this banditry? People that are responsible for this thing, can't they get them arrested? Are they not seeing what is happening in the Western countries? Why are we compromising? And why are we always killing our people? We know the right thing to do. We refuse to do it. The government of today, what is their plan? I don't know, I'm tired. Every time we keep on talking about simple matter that could be resolved. Well, that's my contribution.
All right, thank you. Okay, Barrister Evans, you're saying something.
Yes, I was talking about the profession, the legal profession, which the NBA oversees a disciplinary committee, and lawyers are aware of this, so it's not a new thing. So if a judge is voicing out that lawyers are, at least not the clients now, but lawyers are being used to come and make negotiations and all that, she will have to release the names of those lawyers to. Yeah,
that's what the session. That's what. Hello.
So because of the discipline.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Evening.
I'm calling from Malcolm.
What's your name?
My name is Ifeanyi.
Ifeanyi, please go ahead as quickly as you can.
The only thing one I want to talk is this. This all eyes is judiciary when people they run about, they are threatening them. The truth is here. The person that is leading us now today, the person that is leading us today, they know we 25% in Abuja, and that is the law. I don't know why people, although there was judges.
Hello?
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you.
Okay.
They are very blessed. They know that this man is here, it will not get 25% Abuja. And that is the law. Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that is what I want to say.
Okay.
It's not with 25% Abuja. Let us go straight to the point.
All right. Okay, so we have some messages. We like all your guests at the studio, my guests. They all like you. Thank you. Egwu from Agboruko Independent Layout. It's not working in Nigeria. We all know that. If you ask me, we have the wrong set of senators. All right. Thank you for that. Hello. The voice of callers is very low. Okay. Our technical team, I hope you've taken note of that. Nigeria will be better when we begin to tell ourselves the truth. And this is from Chinedu, sending from Ikotu. Hello, evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Turn down the audio of your radio, please.
Yes, I've done that.
All right, go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Yaman from Surulere.
All right, Peace from Surulere.
Yes.
Is it the famous Peace?
This Nigerian.
Okay.
This man that is complaining about Peter Obi, that Peter Obi went to the bank. He is only trying to give the one aggression. You know where the one complaint is now. Not a thing like it's not a thing should be just letting go. All of them sit at Abuja. Everybody has a village, right? Then all eyes down in the judiciary. You see, something pains me in this country. Delay in judgment always leads to denial injustice. I pray that the judiciary will do the needful. God help us in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Barrister Evans, please, what's your final take on all that the conversation we've had? Let's start off with the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. The tribunal still has a couple of days till September to let us know what their final decision is. Do you think Nigerians are being impatient?
Well, they will give a date that is convenient for the court.
Who will give the date that is convenient for
the
court itself?
Yeah, the court will give a date that is convenient for it.
Okay.
Which is what is going to happen. On that day, they will deliver their judgment. But we should also remember that it is not a final layer. I mean, there's still a Supreme Court for where parties may decide to go and vent further. But for now, it's the Court of First Instance. That's the Court of Appeal that sits as the Presidential Tribunal.
Okay.
So Nigerians should wait for the outcome.
All right.
Nigeria should wait for the outcome. And as to the issue of the billboard, I do not think there's anything that is of infraction there. It is a normal thing. I mean, we all need to even raise more billboards on other areas of our lives to sensitize the public. If the orientation agency, there's an orientation agency that's supposed to orientate people in Nigeria. If they have been doing their job properly, where perhaps by now we should have been used to such publicity. That is it. So Nigerians should just be patient and then watch until we get everything. The justice is our destination, and anything short of justice will not be acceptable.
All right, Mr. Elvis.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. I want to quickly remind Nigerians that what we are seeing now, as in 36 Nigerian military officers just laying, is not what we are going to condone with this present administration. We've seen it so much of Nigerians, and Nigerians saw they have died in Buhari's administration, and now we are in a new era. So we are believing that this idea of laying ambush against Nigerian military anytime they are going for an operation shows that there are some bad eggs within the Nigerian army that leaks this information to Boko Haram and these terrorists. This is our operation, this is the time, and this is our route. That is what Nigeria government and the military formations, military authorities should look inward. Who are these bad elements? How to flush them out of the system so that a repetition of this will not continue. Remember, during Buhari, National Guard, the Presidential Guard, we had the same ambush when they went to Nigeria Law School, when the law school were being threatened by the terrorists. They went there to have meeting with the law school organization or a body that how they are going to protect them. As they were returning to base, the Presidential Guard were also ambushed, and Nigeria lost even some senior officers in that operation. So now it has transcended into this present administration again. They must curtail it. Instead of they should look inward and bring an end to this, instead of us going into Niger, the war that did not concern us. We have more at our hands, and we are biting beyond what we can chew. Let us, chew what we can swallow in this nation, and let the president be in charge of this nation. Nigeria first, before ECOWAS countries.
All right, Barrister Joe.
Yeah, I want to commend the Honorable Justice that raised the awareness regarding the activities of some senior lawyers, because she specifically mentioned senior advocates of Nigeria who respect SAN so much, and I wouldn't want them to use that honor and that dignity they have attained in the profession for something negative that will adversely affect the dignity and the honor that the profession deserves. And they also urge the Honorable Lordship, we have to commend her, but she would go ahead to do more by naming people involved in that scandal.
Okay.
So that we will further sanitize the system, our profession.
Okay.
And they remove the bad eggs that have actually perverted the cause of justice and have thrown the name of both the judiciary and the bar to the muds and robbed and deprived the people of the needed justice that they usually go to court to seek. So, and then again, for SERAP, I have to commend SERAP. I know a couple of them sitting in courts. They are doing well. No matter, however, the issue might be, there must be the first time of taking a matter to court. And once judicial pronouncement is made in respect of that issue, it becomes a precedent, which should be followed in subsequent issues. So I commend them by taking such novice matters to court, for court to make pronouncements on them. They've been doing well, and they should go ahead to take more matters to court. So let us see what the courts will do, so that others will be guided regarding that issue. And with that, our society will be greatly transformed. And maybe, by God's grace, the much desired new Nigeria we have craved for will emerge.
All right, Barrister Jim Wokedi, Mr. Elvis Elimahele, Barrister Evans Ufeli. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the political spotlight this evening. I do appreciate your contribution on the program. Barrister Evans, what's the social media handle?
At Evans Ufeli across Facebook.
All platforms.
Yes, at Evans Ufeli.
Mr. Elvis?
Elimahele Elvis across all platforms.
Barrister Joe.
Joe Wicked.
All right, my name is Esther Wachiko. Across all social media platforms, it's Esther Waz on Instagram, Esther Wachiko on Twitter, Esther Wachiko on Facebook, and of course, Voice of the People 90.3 FM across all platforms, including YouTube. Do have yourselves a wonderful evening. Unfortunately, I heard that Chelsea lost the match to West Ham.
Yes.
Or is the match still ongoing?
And congratulations to Spain for lifting the female World Cup today. Spain won today.
They won?
Yes.
Yippee!
1-0 against the Lioness of England.
That's beautiful. Interesting times. Okay, the political spotlight will have a repeat broadcast on Monday, tomorrow, which will be August 21. So if you were not part of the broadcast this evening, you can actually listen tomorrow. And then, of course, we'd like to hear your comments. Have a wonderful evening.